Toy Story, the first full-length computer-generated feature and a revolution in animated film. In 1995, it was a landmark moment for cinema, but it also caused big waves in the video game industry too. Around the time of PlayStation 2's launch in 2000, the visual quality of the original Toy Story became a kind of benchmark, a lofty goal developers wanted to hit in their games. But of course, there was nowhere near the graphical horsepower in PS2 to achieve such pristine image quality in real time. We had titles like Tekken Tag Tournament and The Bouncer making better use of lighting, post effects and keyframed animations than the original PlayStation. Ultimately though, the technology still fell short of being 100% convincing. So fast forward over 2 decades from Toy Story's release and we may finally have an answer on PlayStation 4. A new 6-minute trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3 premiered at Disney's D23 Expo. This one shows Sora and friends thrown into a new Toy Story themed level where really it's hard not to draw contrasts with the original film. Okay, so Toy Story 3 is a newer, more visually advanced film from Pixar, but comparing to the original, it does show just how far we've come. Now, we've already seen beautiful CG quality visuals running in real time on PS4 hardware. The new Ratchet & Clank, for example, is a beautifully animated post-effects heavy game that blends with the style of the movie. It looks incredible. But this Toy Story stage really makes the comparison clear. The question then is, does Kingdom Hearts 3 actually look better than the first Toy Story? So to answer that, well, let's look at the stars of the show, the characters. Woody is a great example, and Square Enix has done an incredible job of mimicking the geometric detail of the original model. It helps massively that the focus of the movie was on toys after all. The color tone is basic, and Woody still even has that reflective glossy layer under light in the game. It's a simplicity that made toys a perfect subject for a full-length feature project, back when CG animation was in its infancy. And by extension, it makes it all the easier for Square Enix to replicate these models on today's hardware, now in real time. In fact, you could argue that texturing is improved for the game. Check out Rex in Kingdom Hearts 3 and clearly there's more definition to the marks across his skin than what we had in the first film. Kingdom Hearts director Tetsuya Nomura has spoken at length about how Unreal Engine 4 helps with shading in general. Even Sora and the gang take on a slightly different appearance to match the style of each new level. For the Toy Story universe, for example, that equates to some convincing new materials for their bodies, a more plastic sheen with a Lego style construction. It's a brilliant touch and helps the cast fit right into a world with a cleaner CG aesthetic. But it's not as simple as that. Sure, character models for Woody and Buzz Lightyear are spot on, but Square Enix's talent in animating these characters is also crucial. The original Toy Story demanded over 720 controls for Woody alone to control his body, eyes, face and mouth, and more for later films. Really, there's no shortfall from what we see here in Kingdom Hearts 3's animation efforts though. See how Woody's eyes switch focus constantly between 2 different points, especially when reflecting on something. It's subtle but brings the character to life. His eyelids bat down when he's excited, and even his eyebrows move to heighten his expression. All this detail is right there in Kingdom Hearts 3's cutscenes. The detail is incredible, and it's a perfect replica of his movements in the film. The only part which isn't exact is the sharp, erratic body movements he has in the original Toy Story. Put it down to it being early days in CG animation, with the exaggerated movements making it feel more like a traditional cartoon. That's actually dialed down for something more natural in Toy Story 2 and 3, and in this sense Kingdom Hearts 3 is a closer match for later films when it comes to body motion. The same attention to detail goes into the environments as well. Actually, this trailer treats us to glimpses of 3 memorable places: Andy's room, the front garden, and the Space Capsule Arcade. And again, looking at Andy's room first, the demands on texturing are really quite basic, but a lot is done to push it beyond the original film. Color grading is matched and the layout is exactly as you remember it. But impressively, you get improved materials for the chair and extra detail added to the board in the background. Look closer still, and extra lighting effects like bloom are also even added to the window. A huge part of the upgrade here is in the way the room's lit. A lot has changed for the newer Toy Story 3 of course, with dynamic lighting, global illumination, light bounce, and all sorts of extra post effects creating a more complex result. Results like this are beyond the scope of modern GPU hardware in many ways, but the first Toy Story really did things in a more basic, achievable way. Light sources were placed manually and shadows too, with no specular mapping on walls. Even ambient occlusion is used sparingly, hand placed in spots where it's needed. The problem is, looking back, shadows in Toy Story could appear dithered. If you see the underside of Woody's hat, this is one of few places where ambient shading is really applied. And it doesn't look great. Everything else looks flat and barren without that effect too, something later films addressed. In motion, it's fine, but Kingdom Hearts 3 uses a consistent layer of ambient occlusion across the game, even under each character's feet, and at a higher level of quality in general. The room looks fuller and richer as a result. The only part that's really not replicated is the glossy varnish look of the wood floor. The first Toy Story used this to reflect the cast, but in the game it's kind of missing. Looking to the garden next, the lighting model in Unreal Engine 4 really stands out here. Everything has a sense of depth, with grass properly shaded again. In fact, each tuft of grass moves underneath Sora's feet dynamically, a big upgrade over the static, rigid foliage geometry of the film. The only part here which shows the limits of rendering in real time is shadow culling. PS4 isn't able to draw everything in at once, and so it staggers the detail level depending on Sora's distance to it. It's a technique filmmakers can easily brute force past, but very commonplace in games to save on GPU resource. Implemented well, you won't catch it. Here though, as Sora descends into a group of Heartless, you can see shadows popping in still, and filtering quality increasing on the ground. It's something that could very well be fixed by the game's release, but it does show one rough edge that never appears in films. Backing that up is Kingdom Hearts 3's effects pipeline. Leaning on Unreal 4's features means Square Enix gets a host of great options here, and motion blur is used extensively across the demo too. And to be frank, this again is a big upgrade over the actual film, even though it's a real-time effect. Freeze frame the movie in motion and you can see a very basic implementation of per object blur in Toy Story. There's dithering on the blur trail, almost like the image is breaking up into spots. Interestingly though, if we move to Toy Story 2 or 3 and freeze frame again, Pixar radically upgraded the effect with a smoother result, using more samples. It is great news then that Kingdom Hearts 3 uses motion blur quality on a similar level to later films. Freezing the action for a moment, the trails are pristine and blend with the leading object properly. No dithering, just a clean arc. It's a sign video game rendering has well and truly surpassed Toy Story when delivered well, especially in terms of post-processing. Depth of field is another example. It works brilliantly in Kingdom Hearts for close-up shots in Andy's room, and used more aggressively in the game than even the film. That's not to say it's a complete victory though. Kingdom Hearts 3 renders at a native 1920 by 1080 based on this trailer, but the fact is image quality just doesn't match up to a CG feature film. Even next to the original Toy Story, which originally rendered at a lesser 1532 by 922 resolution, the game doesn't hold a candle to the end result. Pixar has previously explained it uses MSAA for Toy Story with an extra pass of blur, leaving 0 jagged edges in the final encode. Multiple filters and blurs are applied, all of which work well with the source material. It still looks great. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, we're looking at a native 1080p image with anti-aliasing that doesn't quite filter every stair step. There are gaps in coverage, flickering points on lighter edges that remind you it's still a game. It is worth remembering what PS4 is competing with. It's incredible to think that Toy Story needed 117 PC workstations to render each scene, with a single frame sometimes taking up to 30 hours to complete. That's hours for one frame in a feature running at 24 frames per second to create a full 80-minute feature. The rendering time is staggering to think about, and it's still the case with modern CG features like Frozen. And yet, with the GPU power available on PS4, it's pushing out results like this at 30 frames per second based on the trailer at least. Assuming it is 30 FPS for now, each frame is rendered within not hours, not minutes, not seconds, but at 33.3 milliseconds. All this is the fruition of the move to newer technology and hardware. Even if image quality does fall short, CG style results like this just weren't possible on the last Kingdom Hearts engine or on PS2. The closest we got were levels based on live action properties like Tron or Pirates of the Caribbean in the second Kingdom Hearts. But even there, these levels used a style similar to traditionally animated features like Aladdin or Lion King to sidestep using realistic materials. Today, we at last have an example of a true computer-generated feature making it into the series, and the fact is, it comes scarily close to the real thing. This blows open the prospects of more Kingdom Hearts worlds based on CG properties. Already, we're promised others like Big Hero 6 and Tangled, but it's fitting Toy Story is shown first as a kind of proof of concept. It works, and I'm itching to see how other worlds hold up to the source material once the game arrives. In general though, the D23 trailer gives us an answer to the age-old question. Yes, we do have the hardware to hit Toy Story grade visuals, sometimes better and at times falling short, but maybe with extra GPU resource spent on techniques like super sampling, we could get past the issues we have in image quality to match the CG look. From my angle though, the results in this early trailer are already close enough, and simply, it's amazing to see how far we've come. Anyway, that'll do for now. If you did find this comparison interesting in any way, do let me know with a like or subscribe. And as ever, you're welcome to visit our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net to find this video at its original source file quality. But until next time, thanks for watching.